Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. I'm here with my boys PD and Cal. Say what's up, gents.
What's going on?
Hey,
Ready
today,
to rap?
today we're going to be talking about the Acolyte. This is a new series being dropped by Star Wars Disney June 4th. So hey, I say today is what? May the 4th be with you always. Let's take a look at it. New live action show.
Last night, a Jedi was murdered.
The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Jedi are being hunted.
She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
I sense this is only a small part of the larger plan. Some sort of shift to tip the scales. It's time to face the past. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
What are you?
So this is a series that's in the High Republic era. This happens just before 100 years before Phantom Menace, and basically one of the Jedi, I believe it's Jet. Who's the name of the actor? I thought it was Jet Li. His name is Lee Jung Jae Lee. He is the actor who is the Jedi Master, and he's basically investigating what's happening with these murders. A former Padawan is supposedly revealed to be the one who's behind it or is working there. So this series, it looks fantastic. I think one of the things, this is what we're talking about. Disney is trying to get a new Star Wars world where they can do whatever they basically want, and this is where the High Republic is. This is the age right after, right before Phantom Menace, but it's definitely after the video games, the Old Republic. Some people are familiar with, and some of the books there. So this is the period they want to like play around. This is the height of the Jedi, where there's tons of Jedi's. They're like the sheriffs. They get sent out to do different things. So it looks fantastic. But the problem, I'm not saying there's a problem. I'm just saying that they
You're
may be
totally saying there's a problem, but what's the problem?
the heat is that there's some people coming out with, of course, naturally that the lead character, the Padawan, Amanda Sternberg. Some people are having problems with her. Look, that's on
On
them.
the her stuff outside of the show is
Outside of
coming
the
to
show,
the show.
yes, outside of the show. So I think that one of the things you got to understand is that younger viewers. I mean, we've constantly seen this where they have people of various backgrounds. They come here, and the current um, crop of original Star Wars people are not exactly in favor of some of these things of people who have a diverse background. I say let's give it a shot. Let's see what it looks like, and let's watch it and see what's going on. Okay.
Um, what's with the was it a Darth smiley face at the end? You got the sort of the serial killer of the
Right.
what's the name look.
So we're not sure right here. This is pretty early to say because think about it. This would be the High Republic would be the time period when this last 100 years before the Phantom Menace is when our boy Darth Sidious, the Emperor Palpatine, will be basically getting his start. Right? 'Cause he's been around for a minute, so this is when he'll start getting his start, or his master is around this time. So you're basically waiting for this to go through the timeline. So probably that's him. I don't know. Probably he's the one who corrupted the young Padawan. I don't know. Probably she corrupted. Who knows? But as we see with the masters in The Sith, I mean, there can only be two, right? The master and the Padawan, and the same thing goes with the Sith. There's just usually a master and apprentice. So we're not
I
sure
thought,
where she's.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought with the Sith that it was just those two, not because with the Jedi, I thought the big difference was that there's a bunch of Jedi and a bunch of Padawans, and I thought with the Sith it's just the two of them, and that was it.
Well,
That's not the case?
no, no, you're right. But I'm saying in the nature of teaching, they always have the master and the Padawan, right? That two
Mhm.
relationship. The difference with the Jedi is that they can work with other people. The problem that you always have with the Sith is that everybody wants to be the master, so you can't really trust anybody. That's why even the Padawans or your apprentice, they can barely trust them. And we see this in the Clone Wars where you know first you have Darth Maul as the apprentice, right? Then you have Count Dooku, and then you have Anakin at the end. So the Emperor or Palpatine is constantly throwing people out. He don't care. He wants to keep everybody unbalanced. He's a master, but he needs somebody else to act for him in different places where he can't act. And so that's what you see here. But again, we don't know where this is coming from. I'm just hoping that it's a well-received show because anything to me that helps the Star Wars franchise is something that I want to continue seeing this universe continue.
Is this helping it, or is it hurting it with the choices that they allowed? Now, we didn't have to hear about any of their backgrounds, any of that nonsense. So did they help it with that, or did they hurt it?
The problem is that background brings in stuff, and so you already have. So I guess look, I think Didio was saying this one time that a lot of times these things are done in committee, right? And they look at the stats and what type of customers they want to have, right? And so in doing that, they then make the choices based on that. Hey, we need to have more representation on this, so we need to have more.
But isn't she just? I mean, all right. Now we're gonna be. I was gonna be sexist. So like, isn't it just an attractive person that they picked, and now we have to find out that she also is like a twofer. Not only does she look good, she's also, she goes kind of. She's open.
Yeah. So let's put it like that. So again, I don't want to have anybody go into that. And I think didn't she win an award? I'm not sure if she won an award. I think, but
Some of that stuff would be self-explanatory. I know it turns into people saying, "Don't tell the world whatever you want to feel," but it's like at the same time, we're watching this. People are also struggling with Marvel and Disney. Like, do we need to get out of this thing and just saying you're a talent, you're trying to, do good work on screen, and if you want to talk about this other stuff, there's other time for that.
But the question is, and I agree with you, but the question is, are they doing this stuff, especially when you have a public that push back on something like the characters in the Obi-Wan show, right? And they're claiming that character was subpar, basically, which we don't necessarily believe, but Cal was definitely ripping into the character. And if you have a fan base that is very vocal and they're constantly doing it, probably then you start saying, all right, probably we need to make our approach a little bit more conformative to what the base wants. But they're looking outside of that and saying, you know what, we need to look at a greater. We need to get a bigger audience, and this is what we need to do to make this audience. And Didio is like, this is what they do. So it's a difficult blend. I mean, you have some people that sometimes just
Is it Didio or Filoni or someone?
So Filoni's the head of the Star Wars stuff, but I'm saying Didio, you was talking about in the comics that these things are made by committee, and they're trying to check off certain boxes. Basically, we had a discussion about that, but
Okay.
but I guess this also goes back to the Russo brothers, where they recently said that when they make these movies, the problem is that the audience is different. You have a younger audience with a different mentality and different size, but they may not be the same. The audience that originally went after for certain stories and a certain type of worldview. And when you start tinkering with that, you lose that audience. You're trying to get another audience, but you end up losing the other audience. So I think you have to really be careful with how you do it. I mean, one of the success of the Mandalorians is that it went back to basics, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the others, you want to, push the envelope. But again, I think the key thing here is, does she do a good job in her job in the story, and that's what matters the most, right? And if she does, it doesn't matter what she does outside of that.
Well, I'm gonna just. It's funny because the Mandalorian was more Western than we'd seen in Star Wars. It felt like Battlestar Galactica, the old one, was like, hey, they're using the Western sets. Let's do a lot of Western stuff in there. So it felt like the Mandalorian was kind of giving us all the Westerns that they could get in the story. So it's kind of, but it works to having these kind of sets they always have in what's the name? And it was successful. It was done very well. But this one, I don't know. It definitely looks good. I do have a what's that thing? Obi-Wan kind of feel where it feels like it might just be standing in place at times. And I think the hard part with these Disney and Marvel stuff is like having a lot of people standing around and talking. And they have some fights and they have some standing around and talking because they have all this equipment and stuff like that and stuff they have to keep in place. So we have all these dull scenes. So it's kind of hard to do it, especially when you're trying to do all these stories and trying to have enough for a streaming network to happen. So you're going to lose some things as you go on. But when you see animated, you get to see some bouncing around. They do have a lot of walking around in the animated series. And the most recent one, I can't say for the Clone Wars because I haven't seen enough of that. So I just, oh, that's the other thing you said, mention the Russos. This is a sidebar on them because they said there is no such thing as superhero fatigue. But in truth, they haven't done a superhero movie in who knows how long. So they're clearly with fatigue. They're like, dude, we're not doing that.
I have to disagree with you. Do they have the IP? If they got the IP, that would be one thing.
What?
But they loved the characters they were doing, and they wanted to do something different. But
Okay, right.
superhero fatigue.
Hey, you just cut my joke. All right, I got it. I wasn't saying it was for real, but
don't piss me off about the whole thing. I'm with them on that. It's not that. It's just that, if you're not making movies to the audience that's interested in it, and also you have to play to the audience. The audience's viewing habits have changed. They gave away movies and TV shows, high quality stuff on streaming during the pandemic. But now you're trying to pivot out of it. But unfortunately, now people are like, well, hey, we have an option. Why even do anything else? You know what I'm trying to say? So now you've lost where some of these movies would have made $500 million. Now you're not getting that return because people are like, hey, I can wait till it comes on my TV and pay $19.99. And I can watch it whenever I want. I can watch it with my whole family. I can stop it.
People don't like paying the $19.99 though. They're iffy on the $5.99 too. They want free. They want free 99.
But it's $3.99 or $6.99. It's now with commercials.
They like on the house.
Right, but I'm saying it's now with commercials. Entertainment people are consuming, and again, this is one of the reasons I have a problem with this. I believe in you need to pay people for their stuff, right? I don't know if you have to pay the full amount. You can definitely shop around.
Ooh, you believe in paying people for their stuff?
I mean, because look, if we don't give the creators some cash, guess what? They're not around, right?
You know how many times we argued about this behind the scenes? I feel like
that's a different story. That's a corporate situation. We're talking about as an individual retail customer, not as administration. And that has not changed. All right. I just had an argument with somebody about that too. So that has not changed. So selective behavior yourself. Cal, are you with me with this and what I'm saying? Or are you different?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yes, Mario. Yes, Mars. Yes, Cal. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure where you're at on this. I think at one point you were making, I think you were making some solid argument, and then you did the normal thing. Then it kind of veered into Marsland, and I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about at this point. Yes, I agree that there is I agree that there's no superhero fatigue. It's just that they aren't telling good. They're not telling good stories. That they decided to. I mean, but this is what I've already said. They decided that they're gonna, divert from solid storytelling to box checking, and that doesn't. When the audience is kind of telling you film after film, this is not entertaining, and you're still doing it, and you're doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on it. That's your fault. So they're not fatigued necessarily with superheroes. They're fatigued with poor storytelling. The other stuff, I'm not too sure if I can agree with.
About the Acolyte?
No, about what you were just talking about.
No, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole other thing. So then basically you agree with me, and so that's what matters. Petey, you have anything else to round this out?
I actually don't. I think I covered as much as I can. You covered a lot, and hopefully, as
Thank you
we
for agreeing.
get hopefully as we go forward, we start getting some better product. Obviously, we got when we started this, we had the Mandalorian, so we're at the top. Then we had a bunch of things, and it felt like we got to Obi-Wan. They didn't really put forth the best effort. But then we had Andor, which didn't get the views, but at the same time, we I don't know what to say.
So
It's
let me give.
ultimately I'm hoping they do well. They got a couple things out there, and I hope the soup isn't that thin right now.
So here, let me just give you from what I've read, and I think it was IMBD. They're saying the cost of this series, The Acolyte, is $49 million. Okay, that's a big chunk of change, and this to me, it's like you put these huge, hefty price tags on these things, and you expect that they're going to be a huge knockout win, and then when they fail, it's like almost sometimes I feel like you set these shows up to fail because you say, all right, you know what, let's check these boxes, blah 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 blah, and this is what's going to happen, and then these things don't pass. Again, this may not necessarily be the case for the Acolyte. Probably all we're talking about is just going to blow over, and it's just going to be perfectly fine, you know. But this is something that people have to I mean, the companies have to realize, go for a more broader, particularly if you're spending that type of money to a much broader audience, so you can get as many people in. Why leave money on the table? I say, you know, get a broad audience, a story that can fit for everybody, especially with Star Wars has always been known for their G-rated or PG-rated content, right? That's not G, but PG-rated content. Let's not push the envelope. Just an entertaining story. That's all we ask, bro. All right. Hey, so if you like what we're saying, speak, comment, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Spin rack.
We're out.
We are out.
Dude, I absolutely love this
Not
cover.
out yet. We not. Oh, that's for Star Wars. Put
And
it
this is
against your
Josh
close to
Small.
your chest. You put it right here.
Josh Small.
All comic book. Okay.
Black
From
and white.
Marvel. Who's drawing it?
Who's
Oh, it's
drawing?
multiple people or something like that.
Oh, it's Benjamin Percy is the writer. Stefano Raphael. Ballet. Before the fall of Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader, Darth Sidious trained another disciple in the secrets of the Sith Order. This apprentice was a mysterious warrior, a Dathomir, who left the path of death and destruction as he made his way through the galaxy. Darth Maul, black, white, and red.
All right, spin rack out.
Didn't we already say